safe.
Welcome to West Wing Week!
Welcome to the West Wing Week. This week, we broke with tradition a little bit. We took to our social media networks and asked our followers what they would like to know about everything that's happening at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Our first question comes via Google+. Does President Obama still keep a cell phone or smartphone on his person at all times, like normal people, or not?
Yes, Justin, he does. He uses a smartphone and he also uses a tablet computer because the president is like the rest of us and he understands how valuable it is to have the right information handy at the right time at your fingertips. That data is available, and many people don't realize this often because either it's government data that's been made available to the private sector to publish in apps that you can use on your phone, or it's been made available because of the policies that this administration has put forth about open data. In fact, the president recently issued an executive order that makes open machine-readable data the new default for government. That means that the same way we have enormous number of applications that use our location, now there'll be enormous number of applications that use things like health data or education data that create apps that are in our smartphones that make our lives easier every day. Because the president understands the value of the innovators and entrepreneurs that create those applications, and he understands the value of having government open, accessible, and work smarter and better for the American people.
Elliot from Twitter asks, will the president be pushing Congress even harder to pass immigration reform after their recess?
This is a great question, Elliot. Thank you for asking it. The president has been pushing very hard for a comprehensive immigration reform, and he had success in that the Senate passed a strong bipartisan bill in June, and now it's the turn of the House of Representatives. And in the interim, we've been able to demonstrate, thanks to the help of the Congressional Budget Office, which is a nonpartisan group, that comprehensive immigration reform, the bill that was passed by the Senate, would grow GDP by more than 5.4%. It helps increase the wages, not just for immigrants, but for all Americans. It reduces the deficit to the tune of $800 billion. It's good for the country, it's good for the economy, and it's time for the House of Representatives to take action. So the president's going to continue to press the case, and he's not going to rest until we get this done.
From Facebook, Joseph asks, what is it like in the White House on a typical day? Let's go over to the folks in the scheduling office and find out.
So for the president, the only thing typical is he starts every morning with an intelligence brief, and from there, maybe he'll do some meetings with senior staff, head to the Situation Room, do a meeting down there, call a foreign leader, give a press conference, or drop by the briefing room. Sometimes he does a message event in the East Room, sometimes he welcomes a sports team. Sometimes the president recognizes veterans with medals of honor, sometimes he meets with foreign heads of states and does bilateral meetings here in the Oval Office, and sometimes he's not even here at all and doing those same meetings with them in their countries. So I suppose you could say sometimes the only thing typical about a typical day at the White House is that it's busy.
Our next question comes in via Facebook. Shirley asks, we make a decent living for our area, but are finding it hard to budget with the rising costs of food, fuel, oil, gas, college education, and taxes on the school level. Will the middle class receive a break in the near future?
Your question is exactly what the president was addressing in the speech he gave a few weeks ago on a better bargain for the middle class. And that better bargain for the middle class centers around what we can do to create jobs, what we can do to make education more affordable and improve the quality of education, what we can do to make home ownership more affordable, what we can do to improve the retirement security of families, and last but not least, when it comes to health care, making sure it's more affordable, and for those who don't have good options, that they get new options. And you can find them all on the Better Bargain for the Middle Class website. So I would encourage you to go there to find out how all of these different ingredients contribute to a better bargain for the middle class.
Aaron asks via Twitter, what will the Obamas do with the honey produced by their hive on the South Lawn? Let's go down to the hive and get an answer.
Well, what I've been told that the Obamas do with the honey is Michelle Obama, the First Lady, disperses it amongst the executive chef, Chris Comerford, Bill and Susie, in the pastry shop, of course. They use it in their recipes. They've used it for state dinners at times. It's also given as gifts to foreign dignitaries. The president has given it out also to children in the Oval Office, from what I understand, so that's pretty cool. It's a great use for this honey, and that's pretty much it.
Here are a couple of scenes from the President's Week. On Friday, the President signed into law the Bipartisan Student Loan Certainty Act of 2013. a key victory for students, the legislation brought together members of Congress from both sides of the aisle around the important mission of keeping college affordable for American students and their families.
Even though we've been able to stabilize the interest rates on student loans, our job's not done, because the cost of college remains extraordinarily high. It has a depressive effect on the economy overall, and we've got to do something about it.
Later, in the East Room, the president held a news conference. He addressed a range of topics, including the need to strike the right balance between protecting the privacy rights of all Americans and protecting our national security.
It's not enough for me as president to have confidence in these programs. The American people need to have confidence in them as well. And that's why over the last few weeks I've consulted members of Congress who come at this issue from many different perspectives. I've asked the Privacy and Civil Liberties Oversight Board to review where our counterterrorism efforts and our values come into tension. And I directed my national security team to be more transparent and to pursue reforms of our laws and practices.
On Saturday, the president and the First Lady traveled to Orlando, Florida, where they spoke at the Disabled American Veterans National Convention.
Every day, you work to ensure that America is fulfilling its promises to our men and women who have served. That's your mission. And I want you to know it is my mission too.
To find out more information on any of these topics or to see complete videos of these events, go to whitehouse.gov. And thanks again for checking out your West Wing Week.
Feels good, Simon Bills. I haven't done this in a while. Hint, 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 hint.